I've been making a lot of videos about potential free agents for the Detroit Lions, but we have two on our team that we may or may not bring back that I have yet to talk about. That is Josh Reynolds and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Now, as you know, the Detroit Lions have 4 wide receivers under contract for next year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Antoine Green, and Khalif Raymond. And we went into the season with 5 wide receivers on the active roster. Basically, the difference now is we have Marvin Jones and we don't have Marvin Jones anymore. And I hope he's doing okay. I was wondering, like, he just completely disappeared from everything. So whatever's going on with Marvin Jones, I hope he's okay and stuff like that. But we didn't talk about those guys. I have yet to talk about Josh Reynolds and Donovan Peoples-Jones. What I decided to do is I'm going to make a video about both those guys at the same time. Now, me personally, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't mind if both or either one of these guys come back. If I had to pick between the two, first I said I would pick DPJ because of his upside and age, but I got to switch that. I got to go with Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds would be the guy to bring back if I had to pick, one or the other. But as far as both of them guys coming back, I don't mind if they both come back if I know that Brad Holmes has deflected most of his funds to the defensive side of the ball. That is in the secondary and on the D-line, because that is the priority. Brad Holmes went heavy into offense in both the draft. He got Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and he went Jack Campbell and Brian Branch, but it's time he's forsaken that defensive line. Levi Onwuzurike injured. Josh Pascal injured. So it's time to shore up the defense, period. There's no more excuses for Aaron Glenn, and I can go down a whole rabbit hole about that, but I won't do it. So we're going to talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones and Josh Reynolds. And if we were to bring somebody from the outside in, I want somebody that can stretch the field. I really, truly do. A Calvin Ridley, somebody that can help Jamison Williams out and Khalif Raymond for stretching the field, because those are the only 2 guys that we have for stretching the field. Now, I'm not sure if Donovan Peoples-Jones can do that. No Josh Reynolds, that's not really his game. His game is that intermediate, first down, touchdown within 20 yards, something like that, right? He's not really a stretch the field guy. So we're going to weigh the pros of bringing both of these guys back. Now, let's look at Josh Reynolds and his stats. The one thing Josh Reynolds will be remembered for, not all the good that he did during the year, but those crucial drops in the NFC title game that helped cost us the game. They weren't the reason we lost, but they were a big part of it. Now, if we look at Josh Reynolds will be, actually, he just turned 29, so he'll be 29. He won't be 30 until next season is over. All right. Was played with Jared Goff, drafted in the 4th round, had 40 receptions for 608 yards, 5 touchdowns, an average of 15.2 per catch. There was a while at the beginning of the season that every time Josh Reynolds caught the ball, it was either a first down or a touchdown. That's how active he was and how big he was of a receiver for us. If we look at his stats we know what they are. But his time with the Detroit Lions, his best year he had with Jared Goff, 618 yards. And even he played all 17 games, and even kind of missing in the middle of the season, we didn't really lean on him that much. He still had the 2nd highest total of his career. So Josh Reynolds is not really going to give you 1,000 yards. He has yet to do it. This is why he left Tennessee right here, why he wanted to come to Detroit and play again with Jared Goff. He had more yards in 2 more games than he did in the 5 he played with Tennessee. So he made the right move by getting out of Tennessee a couple years ago. So Josh Reynolds, not 1,000-yard receiver, but usually a reliable guy. He's really a reliable guy. And I hate that one kind of game is how we remember him heading into the offseason. So his market value is $7 million a year, 2 years, $14 million. His current contract was 2 years, $6 million that he signed in 2022. So he's going to make in 1 year more than he made his entire time with the Detroit Lions. Very similar to what Jamal Williams got. I think it was exactly the same. It was like 2 years, $6 million when Jamal Williams was here as a Detroit Lion. So Josh Reynolds, $14 million, 2 years. That's cheaper than Calvin Ridley. That's cheaper than Tyler Lockett, cheaper than a lot of free agent wide receivers that are going to be available. So Josh Reynolds would not mind bringing him back. He's not the one that I have a question about. I like that core. It's that stretching the field guy, the opposite Jameson Williams, that I want to see. And I just don't think Donovan Peoples-Jones is that guy. Speaking of DPJ, let's take a look at him real quick. So this guy here had a fantastic year in 2022, the best year of his career. He got increasingly better, and then he just fell off a cliff. Then was traded. I know you got Amari Cooper, and a couple years he didn't have Amari over here. But it's almost like they got away from getting him the ball. 8 games with the Cleveland Browns, 97 yards. No touchdowns last season. So, and then with us, he played in 8 games. So he played, 15 games on the season, had 7 whole receptions for 58 yards. If we look at his market value here, he is a 1-year, $2.7 million. So he's going to be on a prove-it deal, and I can see that happening. So as far as Donovan Peoples-Jones is concerned, I look at it like this. The Detroit Lions are trying to get better. And you got to ask yourself, and this is why I really don't envy what Brad Holmes has to do, because you have to weigh the pros and the cons. You can get 2 wide receivers for under $10 million a year. You bring back guys. Josh Reynolds is a staple of who this team is. He was brought in half of the year after Jared Goff was here and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. So he was brought in. So he is as much as a part of the Detroit Lions as they are. So you bring him in, and then you bring in Donovan Peoples-Jones. Donovan Peoples-Jones, to me, is the con is, okay, is this going to be, if he's not on the team, another wide receiver that we trade for, that we waste draft capital? Because when we traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones, we gave up a 6th-round 2025 pick, right? Knowing that this guy might not even be on the roster when that pick is given to the Cleveland Browns. That is the biggest, to me, kind of reason that I would bring him back. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I know I said, like I said to start this video, I was like, okay, which one would I bring back? Donovan Peoples-Jones and versus Josh Reynolds. It was early on. I was looking at what he did in Cleveland last year, and I'm saying to myself, okay, upside, youth, have to say DPJ. But after what I saw last year, I don't know. But here's what I'm saying. The cons, the pros is he played for us last year, more than half the season. He's familiar with the team. We're familiar with him. He's not going to cost that much money, right? So, but if we do that, our receiving core will be exactly like it was last year. Exactly like it was. There will be no change. The only difference is that Jameson Williams will be have his first full year as a Detroit Lion during the season, as far as being able to play all 17 games. And Donovan Peoples-Jones will have a full offseason. Ben Johnson will be able to work him into the, as far as the playbook and stuff like that, where plays go to him. That's the pros. The cons are, it'll be the exact same as it was last year. We don't have that guy to stretch the field, right? Like Donovan Peoples-Jones, don't get me wrong, he can catch a deep pass or two, but I'm talking about a guy that can take the top off of the secondary. And the only person who can truly do that is Jameson Williams. With a close, Khalif Raymond is a, I'm not going to say a close second. He's like a intermediate second. He can do it as well. And we missed that going into that game, into the entire playoffs, because Khalif Raymond missed the whole playoff run, which is unfortunate, right? So for me, I like it. I understand it, because I'm thinking of the offense really wasn't the problem. It was the defense. So Brad Holmes has to be laser focused on the defense. And if we were to bring back the exact same wide receiver core as last year, then we know that they're gravy. They can only get better, right? So as opposed to if we bring in somebody new and then they're going to cost, and then we got to find somebody on the defense. So I'm all about making the team better. I'm all about evolving this team. I wouldn't be opposed to this if Brad Holmes is going to focus on the defense like he needs to do, like I've been begging him to do since he got here, like I was begging Matt Patricia to do before that. So I'm not mad at this. I don't think it's special, but at the same time, our offense was top 5. And that's without Donovan Peoples-Jones doing anything. The dude had how many? 58 yards? He had 58 yards in 7 games. So if he could even, his lowest career year was his rookie year at 304. So, I mean, if we can get him going, then we'll have an even more high potent offense. So I'm not opposed to it if Brad Holmes is going to funnel most of his assets into the defensive side of the ball. Let me know in the comments below. Have you forgiven Josh Reynolds for the drops in the conference championship game? And do you want both of these guys to come back? Put whatever you want in the comment section, whether you see them both or you picking one or the other. I would mind, like I said, it wouldn't destroy me if that. I just want Brad. What would destroy me is for him to neglect the defensive line again. That is my main focus. I think after 3 years, we cannot put it off any longer. So if he wants to bring the same guys back, fine. You go right ahead. Offense is not going to suffer. It's only going to get better. But I wouldn't be mad if we stretch the field either. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. We hit 16.7. We are on a push to 20K. And we could get there before March 1st. So consider subscribing. Talk to you later.